What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Healthy Living. Chris Patrick here, and we've been going through this lady's incredible book. Her name is Joyce Meyer, Battlefield of the Mind, and we are on chapter 9, titled A Wandering, Wondering Mind. For those of you just listening for the very first time, welcome aboard. I do this every single Tuesday, and hopefully you stick around to listening to many more of my episodes. For those of you coming back, welcome back. Thank you so much for actively listening, and hopefully this has been reaching you and helping you to grow each and every single week, especially during this quarantine time. Being home, it's not easy. So anyway, let's jump right into this. Again, it's titled A Wandering, Wondering Mind. Joyce gives us a verse from 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 13, which says, "Wherefore gird up the loins of your mind." In the previous chapter, we stated that a mind too busy is abnormal. Another condition of the mind that is abnormal is for it to be wandering all over the place. An inability to concentrate indicates mental attack from the devil. Many people have spent years allowing their minds to wander because they have never applied principles of discipline to their thought life. Quite often, people who cannot seem to concentrate think they are mentally deficient. However, an inability to concentrate can be the result of years of letting the mind do whatever it wants to do, whenever it wants to do it. A lack of concentration can also be a symptom of vitamin deficiency. Certain B vitamins enhance concentration. Therefore, if you have an inability to concentrate, ask yourself if you are eating right and are nutritionally sound. What's going on, Ryan? What's up, Elizabeth? Thanks for hopping on. Extreme fatigue can also affect concentration. She says here that I have found that when I'm excessively tired, Satan will try to attack my mind because he knows it is more difficult to resist him during these times. The devil wants you and me to think that we are mentally deficient, so we will not attempt to do anything to cause him problems. He wants us to passively accept whatever lies he tells us. She says here that one of our daughters had difficulty concentrating during her childhood years. Reading was difficult for her because concentration and comprehension go hand in hand. Many children, and even some adults, don't comprehend what they read. Their eyes scan the words on the page, but their minds don't really understand what's being read. Often, a lack of comprehension is the result of a lack of concentration. I know that for myself. She says, I can read a chapter in the Bible or a book and all of a sudden realize that I do not know what I have read at all. I can go back and read it again and it all seems new to me. Even though my eyes were scanning the pages, my mind had wandered off somewhere else. But hold on, my bad, guys. Her mind had wandered off somewhere else. Because I did not stay focused on what I was doing, I failed to comprehend what I was reading. Often, the problem behind a lack of comprehension is a lack of attention caused by a wandering mind. Recently, she says that Dave and I and a couple we're friends with in Utah were riding in the car together. Simultaneously, the other couple and I heard Dave say, "I bless myself." We all laughed when we realized that even though Dave had sneezed loudly, none of us consciously heard him because we had all gone somewhere else in our minds. I spoke up and said, "Sorry, I didn't hear you. I was in the office in St. Louis." The man in the back seat laughed and said, "I was in Florida, taking care of some business." His wife right next to him laughed too and said, I was in Dallas in my office handling a situation. In a few moments of time, the three of us had all gone to another state mentally. It showed us how quickly the mind can wander from what is really happening right where we are. We laughed because Dave had to bless himself since none of us were mentally there. It was funny, but it was also eye-opening to realize how we can lose awareness of what is happening around us by not focusing on the present. A wandering mind. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 1 says, "Keep your foot, give your mind to what you are doing." She says here that I believe the expression "keep your foot" means don't lose your balance or get off track. The amplification of this phrase indicates that one stays on track by keeping his mind on what he's doing. She says here that I had a wandering mind and had to train it by discipline. It was not easy, and sometimes I still have a relapse. While trying to complete some project, I will suddenly realize that my mind has just wandered off onto something else that has nothing to do with the issue at hand. I have not yet arrived at a place of perfect concentration, but at least I understand how important it is not to allow my mind to go wherever it wishes, whenever it desires. Webster's dictionary actually defines the word wander as to move about aimlessly or to roam, to go by an indirect route or at no set pace, or to be amble, or to proceed in an irregular course of action, meander, or 5, to think or express oneself unclearly or incoherently. She says here that if you're like me, you can be sitting in a church service listening to the speaker, really enjoying the benefits from what's being said, when suddenly your mind goes somewhere else. After a while, you wake up to find that you don't remember a thing that has been going on. Even though your body stayed in church, your mind has been at the shopping center browsing through the stores, or home in the kitchen cooking dinner. Remember, in spiritual warfare, the mind is the battlefield. That is where the enemy makes his attack. He knows very well that even though a person attends church, if he can't keep his mind on what's being taught, he will gain absolutely nothing by being there. The devil knows that a person cannot discipline himself to complete a project if he cannot discipline his mind and keep it on what he's doing. This mind-wandering phenomenon also occurs during conversations. I agree. She says here that there are times when my husband Dave is talking to me, and I listen for a while, then all of a sudden I realize that I have not heard a thing he's been saying. Why? Because I allowed my mind to wander off on something else. My body was standing there, appearing to listen, yet in my mind I heard nothing. For many years, when this sort of thing happened, I would pretend that I knew exactly what he was saying. Now, I stop and tell him, "Can you back up and repeat that? I let my mind wander off and I did not hear a thing you said." In this way, I feel that at least I'm dealing with the problem. Confronting issues is the only way to get on the victorious side of them. She says here that I have decided that if the devil went to the trouble to attack me with a wandering mind, then perhaps something was being said that I needed to hear. One way to combat the enemy in this area is by taking advantage of the recorded messages provided by most churches. If you haven't yet learned to discipline your mind to keep it on what is being said in church, then buy a recording of the sermon each week and listen to it as many times as you need to in order to get the message. And if you come from a church like I do, you don't have to buy the sermons. They just upload it to their website and you can go back to them whenever you want to. Alright, it says here that the devil will give up when he sees that you're not going to give in. Remember, Satan wants you to think that you are mentally deficient, that something is wrong with you. But the truth is, you just need to begin disciplining your mind. Don't let it run all over town doing whatever it pleases. Begin today to keep your foot, to keep your mind on what you're doing. You will need to practice for a while. Breaking old habits and forming new ones always takes time. But it's worth it in the end. The present moment is the greatest gift we have from God, but if we are not present, we miss it. A wandering mind. Let's see here. Mark chapter 11, verses 23 and 24 say, "Truly I tell you, whoever says to this mountain, 'Be lifted up and thrown into the sea,' and does not doubt at all in his heart, but believes that what he says will take place, it will be done for him. For this reason, I am telling you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe, trust, and be confident that it is granted to you, and you will get it." Faced with one thing or another, I frequently began to hear myself say, "I wonder." For example, I wonder what the weather will be like tomorrow. I wonder what I should wear to the party. I wonder what kind of grades my son will get on his report card. I wonder how many people will show up at the seminar. The dictionary partially defines the word wonder in the noun form as a feeling of puzzlement or doubt, in the verb form as to be filled with curiosity or doubt. She says here that I have come to learn that I am much better off doing something positive than just wondering all the time about everything imaginable. Instead of wondering what kind of grades my son will get, I can believe that he will make good grades. Rather than wondering what I should wear to the party, I can simply decide what to wear. Instead of wondering about the weather or about how many people will attend one of my meetings, I can turn the matter over to Jesus, trusting Him to work all things out for good regardless of what happens. Update. She says here that their son Danny did not like school, and he struggled all the way through, so she did a lot of wondering about him and his future. She thought that we would enjoy knowing that he's currently the CEO at Joyce Meyer Ministries. All of her wondering was wasted time. God knew his future and had everything under control. Although some wondering about things is normal, if it is excessive, it can leave a person in indecision, and indecision causes confusion. Wondering, indecision, and confusion prevent an individual from receiving from God, by faith, the answer to his prayer or need. To close here, it says, notice that in Mark chapter 11, verses 23 and 24, Jesus did not say, whatever you ask for in prayer, wonder if you will get it. No. Instead, he said, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you will receive it, and you will. As Christians, as believers, we are to believe, not doubt. And that, my friends, is the end of chapter 9. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope this impacted you in a positive way. And if you did, please give it a like and a share. Not for my sake, but maybe it'll reach some more people out there. I love you all. I hope you guys have a fantastic evening. And I will talk to you next Tuesday when we do the 10th chapter. I'll talk to you later.